welcome back. Main Event Podcast 2. How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing very good today. How was your day, Ruben?
Dude, I am good. Did you see UFC 261?
Oh, yes, I did. Fantastic card, by the way.
It was good. Listen, the first two fights were a little iffy. Jimmy Crute, Chris Weidman,
Anthony Smith, yeah.
I was a little bit iffy for the whole card because she gets some injuries going on. It's bad, but those last three fights were really, really good. What was your favorite?
My favorite fight of the whole night?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the Usman-Masvidal fight. But we are going to get to that in a second. But first, let's handle what the heck happened to Weidman, man?
Just a freak accident. Like, they've been saying for a long time, the leg kick in the UFC is starting to become one of the most fundamental things any fighter can learn. And it's a great tool in the arsenal. You've seen Conor fall to that. Poirier's really good at that. Adesanya
Gaethje's really good at it.
Gaethje's good at that. The pioneer of it is really Adesanya. And it's just a bummer because we saw that with Anderson Silva against Weidman. And then you see it with Weidman against Uriah Hall. It's just one of those freak things.
Yeah. Like
a torn ACL in the NFL. It's a bummer.
But dang, man, the irony in that, don't you think? Weidman's career kind of started off that, and now it's probably going to end off it too, so,
Yeah, I mean, Weidman had a couple of really good fights against Anderson Silva, especially that first one, which, let's be real. If Silva wasn't dancing around, taunting like Silva does, is Silva still champion after that? Probably. Yeah. But at the same time, you got to give the credit to Weidman for beating him.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, that's the thing. You can't really take any of those fights against Silva away from Weidman because accidents happen. And that's a freak accident in the UFC. It's a bummer. Yeah, I really liked Weidman, man. It's a bummer because he's late in his career. I don't know if he's gonna have a late career resurgence. He's lost against a bunch of guys leading up to the Uriah Hall fight. If you listen to him, he's thinking he's still possible to be a UFC champion. That might be out the window now.
He's a little too old now, and
that might be out the window
this injury. His career's more on the end path, sadly. But
he was good. He was a top wrestler in his career. Obviously, knocking out Silva, top striker in his prime. It's a bummer that it might end this way. Hopefully not. I just saw today that he had surgery and that was successful. So hopefully he can get back into the octagon soon. But yeah, it's a bummer because Weidman to me is just one of those classy guys that you don't want anything bad ever happening to.
Oh, for sure.
And unfortunately, Uriah Hall's shin's a little bit harder than Chris Weidman's shin. What do you think about it?
He's an NMF. He's a nice mother effer.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, sad that injury happened, but that was the first fight from a UFC fighter who didn't even throw a strike and still won that fight.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's
Uriah
crazy.
Hall. I don't think that's a record that can literally never be broken.
No, it probably never be broken.
I don't see that ever being broken. Uriah Hall didn't even throw one punch, one kick, and won the fight.
And left with like $100K in his bank account.
I think Dana should have given Fight of the Night bonus.
I think he should have too.
I mean, that's like some Mortal Kombat stuff, dude.
All you heard was fatality coming in from the other side.
Oh, man. But overall, the card I thought was really good.
The card was fantastic.
My favorite part of the night was definitely Daniel Cormier about to knock out a certain YouTuber who I am never mentioning again. He's done. Until he fights a UFC guy in the octagon, he's useless to me.
Or
he's pathetic.
I would want him to fight a striking UFC guy in boxing. Put it on against Conor. See what happens.
I mean, he would get eaten alive.
Yeah,
of
course, but
but that was not to get too off topic. I just love that DC jumped in just to show that moron, run your mouth.
Yeah.
run it someplace else. Run it back in.
I love it how Jake Paul was with his little cheerleaders too, and the cheerleaders were just too scared to even touch DC.
Well, as Ben Askren would say, DC would do a homicide.
Oh yeah.
On Jake Paul, it wouldn't even be close. And DC's a super classy guy. Super classy guy. So there's no way that would ever take place. But it's just fun to think about. Daniel Cormier just shooting the power double, ripping Jake Paul to the ground. Just amazing ground and pound. Oh, it'd be great.
I mean, Daniel Cormier's gone up against Stipe, John Jones. Like, I highly doubt he's going to be even remotely scared of Jake Paul.
Oh, man. Rumble Johnson. He knocked out Rumble Johnson. Ooh, that'd be good. But anyway, enough with the nonsense. Let's get to Usman versus Masvidal. And that first round was amazing.
Honestly, Masvidal did not do that bad in the first round, though. It was pretty not even. I would still give it to Usman. But, I mean, compared to what that happened in the second round, it's
I think
light years away.
I think that first round, it could have gone either way.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, Masvidal's wrestling was tight. You could tell that Usman was still a better wrestler. But whenever those takedowns happened, he was getting up quickly, turning into them. He wasn't getting overpowered by Masvidal as much as other guys have.
Yeah.
And that's when I thought Gilbert Burns, backtracking a little bit, Gilbert Burns, a world-class jiu-jitsu competitor. World-class. I mean, he's a world champion in multiple different organizations. Competitions, I should say.
Yeah.
But I thought Masvidal really held his own. I thought Usman was definitely taking more damage, was definitely looking a little bit more tired, kind of pacing his shots, not really keeping distance that well. Masvidal,
Can you touch the camera again? We're about to.
I can tell what Masvidal's. Oops, yeah.
Give us one sec, guys. We do apologize for this. Sometimes these things happen. We're new here, and we like to fix things when it happens like this, and we apologize. Okay.
So yeah. Anyway, what I was saying was technical difficulties. Masvidal. Masvidal's a really tough guy. I mean, one of the toughest guys in the UFC. Obviously,
sure. They're all tough guys, but
but like Masvidal, Joe Rogan said during the fight, he's never really been rocked ever in any of his fights. Yeah. And whenever he was getting punched by Usman, who has tremendous power, that guy's arms are tree trunks.
Oh, they're huge.
And so there were times in the fight when Usman would check Masvidal on a jab, and Masvidal would do the Anderson Silva Nick Diaz thing where he drops his hand and starts taunting. And I don't think those were really hurting him. Now, probably they were because he was reacting to them in that way, which I could definitely see that being an issue.
Yeah. I think to me, he probably just got caught. 9 times out of 10, I don't think that happens. I don't think Masvidal loses by a knockout. But, that punch right there, 10 seconds before, like I said, he was taunting him, moving around, doing his little Mcgregor Diaz. And then, Usman pushes his hand away, and Masvidal's not able to hit him with the left, and he just gets clipped with Usman's right.
Well, that's what I was kind of getting at, was Masvidal was, I think he was, to me it looked like Usman at the end of round 1 was more tired than Masvidal at the end of round 1. Yeah. For sure. And I thought that Masvidal was doing good, keeping the distance. I think Usman was kind of stunned because the wrestling for Masvidal was definitely stronger than it was in the first fight. Absolutely. But you can't just invite those shots. And I was even telling when people who I was watching the fight with last night, Masvidal's hands are low. Like to me, it could have been like there's just guys.
I think it was disrespect. I don't think he respected Usman's.
Well, if you're disrespecting Usman, you deserve to get knocked out. Like you shouldn't disrespect that man. Yeah, but I think it was just he's like Usman. Well, I'm sorry, Masvidal is just one of those guys whose hands are going to be lower. Like that's just the way he fights, and we've seen time and time again guys with hands lower. Strikers are just going to pick their shot, and that's exactly what happened. Masvidal. Usman just waited till that one time he saw the clear opening, pop, done, and I kind of feel bad for Masvidal because I don't see him getting a title fight for a while.
Well, we said this before, we're going to say it again. These last 2 years for him were journeyman years, I think without that knee to Ben Askren, none of this really happens. Yeah. Right? Sadly, he was fun to watch. Of course. But, like, look at his record. 35-15, right?
35-15. Yep.
Look at the other top guys in the division. Covington's lost 2. I think Burns has 2 or 3.
Oh, yeah.
Like, look at the other top guys in the division. And then look at Masvidal. You know, it was a journey. He had fun. We had fun watching him.
Well, I'm by no means saying that Masvidal's done. No way am I saying Masvidal's done. But listen, as long as Usman's champion, there's no trilogy fight.
No.
It's over. Like,
next up is Covington.
Next up is Covington. And if Covington wins, which I think a lot of the world doesn't want him to win. If Covington wins, then yeah, I could totally see Usman getting up there. And that would be a good fight because both those guys, you know, Usman, Masvidal, and Covington, they're all really tough guys, all really good wrestlers, all really good strikers. I could see those guys battling it out for the next, you know, few years. But that's only if Covington wins. Because if Covington loses, who's next?
I was thinking that too.
Burns again, maybe?
Vincent LeCue?
Could be.
That's all I could really think of.
Like, he could be. I don't think that... I never thought Masvidal was going to beat Usman.
I didn't.
I think that there's a chance Covington could. And I know that no one likes the nerds and virgins guy. the Trumper winning. Can I just say real quick? I kind of like Covington.
Can I say something real quick too?
Oh no.
I kind of like Covington. Like he's a fun guy to watch fight. He's fun off the octagon. He's just a funny guy in general. I don't get why people don't like him. This is all an act, right? He's not really the MAGA guy 2016 that everyone makes him out to be. And it's super funny how he trolls people. And that, to me, is the reason why I like him. Like, he's just funny. He's a troll. He's kind of reminds me of Jake Paul or Conor McGregor. Like, this is all an act, right?
Well,
and we're all falling for it.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. With Jake Paul, it's clearly an act. But
Connor's
not an act. I think Conor is really that confident of a guy. I
think he's confident too.
Yeah, but you hear these stories. I heard a story from Chael Sonnen say that behind the scenes, Covington's not really that big, brash kind of jerk guy.
Yeah.
So it is, but it's fun.
Of course,
it's harmless. You know, I mean, I don't think if he really didn't like Trump, he wouldn't go meet with him.
I mean, maybe he likes Trump. That's neither here nor there. But I don't think he's MAGA, the guy that we think he is. But,
yeah. Oh, we forgot Leon Edwards. Although he's been pretty inactive.
He was supposed to fight Khabib's buddy. I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Oh, Kazmat,
right?
Yeah.
I think he could have beat him. Honestly, he's also in the welterweight rankings too. So
yeah, he's gonna need to win another fight or two, but he's on his way.
Another top tier fight.
But back to Covington.
Yeah,
Covington is the exact guy who could give Masvidal a run for his money.
Usman.
Jeez, why do I keep? Yes, Usman. Jeez,
I think so too.
So
I think out of all their fights, like the last couple fights Usman's that one was really the closest, right?
Yeah, for a long time until that one punch that people have to respect from Usman because he's clearly a great striker. People always want to talk about his wrestling. I think his striking is really good.
I think Covington has better wrestling than him. And let's face it, like going into that 5th round, it was like 2-2. It was you could honestly debate it was 3-1 Covington, but I'll say 2-2 Usman and Covington.
Yeah.
Going in that 5th round.
Yeah.
And like the first start, Covington looked great. But he got rocked, and,
we saw what happened.
We saw what happened to that. Like, Usman's not a bum. Like, he's a great fighter, right? But he's not invincible. I don't think he's a John Jones type fighter. Like, I don't think, like, he's going to be great, but I don't think he's ever going to be the greatest ever, right? And I think if anyone's going to stop it, as of right now, it would be Covington.
Yeah,
okay?
It has to be Covington. For those reasons. Covington... like we've said, the wrestling is there with Covington. He's an All-American. We know the wrestling's there. We've seen the wrestling there.
Fantastic.
His gas tank is fantastic. This fight is gonna come down between Covington and Usman. Who is the better striker? Because That was the issue last
Well,
time. That was the last issue in fight number 1. Neither Usman nor Covington wanted to fight each other.
yeah.
Neither wanted to wrestle each other.
Which I think.
Well, it's dangerous if you do that. If you go against another high-level wrestler, and you're a high-level wrestler, you can get into a wrestling fight, a wrestling match, all you want. But
I think it was smarter for Usman to stand up. Because
I think it was smarter for Covington to take him to the mat, and he never did it.
That's what I'm saying. Because for Usman, I think Usman's a better striker. But when it comes to wrestling, I think Covington has the edge, just by a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible. I think that this next fight's going to be really good.
Mm-hmm.
I would still give the edge to Usman, unfortunately.
I think I would too. Yes.
Like Usman's past the point of doubt. You can't doubt this guy anymore.
No.
He's a monster, and we just have to say that. We have to level with it. And yeah, Usman's the type of guy who a lot of people don't like because he is more brash and he is more tough. And the issue with that is that when Conor did it with some charm.
Conor was a funny guy. Conor had a great personality. For Usman, he's just
brash.
The jokes don't land for him, you know?
Well, I think it's just brash. Like Usman comes in like a bully, and Conor comes in like a bully, but also he says jokes. He jokes around. He
was already a funny guy, you know.
Yeah, and so people I think with Usman think is an act too. But
yeah. I
mean, I think that I mean,
all right, Nate Diaz, Leon Edwards. Who do you got?
Leon.
Okay.
Yeah. The reason why is because, no disrespect to Nate, but here's the issue with Nate. Controversy. He's a journeyman fighter. He's a win one, lose one type of guy. Win two, lose one type of guy. And that's fine. Like, he's great. He's better than me. But the issue is that there's always going to be somebody better than Nate.
Mm-hmm.
He's too old to compete for a title. Leon Edwards is young. He's the 4th ranked fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see, personally, Leon. I don't see Leon beating him. I don't see Nate beating Leon. Just because of that fact. It's nothing that even Leon is doing. It's simply just because, listen, Nate is just young. Old. We know what Nate is. I guess what I'm trying to say is we know what Nate is.
We've been knowing what Nate is.
Leon's on the rise. He's a fantastic striker.
Mm-hmm.
He isn't as bad on the ground as some might say, but he's a great striker. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows that. Is he ducking people? Maybe, but he's not ducking Nate. I think if he comes to fight, he is called out Usman. He's called out Masvidal. I think that Leon's just going to be a little too much for him. What do you think?
Well, I think so too. But that being said, I think Nate Diaz can make it a fight for sure.
Yeah.
And every Nate Diaz fight is just fun to watch. That being said, Leon in 2.
Being said, Leon in 2.
But going off Leon Edwards, like, what happens to him after this fight? Let's say he wins this fight.
He's fighting for the title. Maybe he fights one more guy, but he's fighting for the title.
Well, Covington's next.
No, I mean after. Well, yeah, but okay. Leon's not fighting for the title. Covington has it next. Dana says that's locked in stone.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he was there, ringside.
Well, yeah,
like definitely, it's Covington or it's nothing, for sure.
Whenever they make that fight, like when's that fight gonna be? August, like September? Like that's gonna be a long time to wait for Leon.
But here's one thing we got to say about Usman is that he's active. So if he wins, it might be a quick turnaround.
Yeah.
If Covington wins, who knows? Could be a year. Could be 6 months. But the point is still that Leon, undefeated in the UFC, he has a couple big name wins.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna be next in line. Mm-hmm. Like, people might not like that, but that's probably what it's gonna be. Maybe he has to fight one more guy, but he's the 4th ranked contender. And look, let's just assume that Usman wins.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he's beat that would mean he beat Colby twice. Masvidal's the 4th rank. Oh, I'm sorry. Leon Edwards the 3rd pound. He's the third.
Masvidal twice, by the way. He didn't beat Colby twice.
No, I'm saying if he wins.
Oh, if he wins.
If
okay,
he wins,
yeah.
he'll beat Colby twice. He'll beat Masvidal twice. He already beat Gilbert Burns. The only guy next, logically, is the number 3 ranked challenger, and that's Leon Edwards.
Or my boy Stephen Thompson.
Stephen Thompson.
Great fight.
Stephen Thompson.
My boy right there.
Stephen Thompson has to win at least one more.
Yeah.
But he's good.
Masvidal versus Leon sounds appetizing too, you know?
But that's the thing. This isn't going off who Leon should fight. It's going off who Usman needs to fight.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's the point. And unfortunately for Usman, I mean, you know, unfortunately for either one, I guess, is a better way to say it, he's already beat everyone. And if he beats Covington, he'll beat 2 of the top 3 or 4 guys twice.
I guess Leon's the last guy.
Next. Like, it's just logical because you got to find someone to beat. Unless Usman goes and tries to take somebody out in another division. Maybe he goes and tries to take out Adesanya. I doubt it. They're boys.
Yeah.
Maybe he tries to go and take Conor. We'll get into that in a second. But Usman is definitely next for Edwards, just logically thinking. Unless, of course, Edwards loses to Nate. And then the welterweight division has a little bit of an issue. It's probably going to be, you know, I don't know. Like, everyone's talking about Vincent LeCue. Listen, he's a great fighter. Got no issues with Vincent LeCue. But a great, stunning defeat of Tyron Woodley is not something that's going to push you high up the charts. Okay? He's, you know, he's probably got to fight Thompson. He's probably got to fight one of Covington, Usman. Jeez, why do I keep getting their names mixed up? Covington, Masvidal, Burns. He's got to fight one of those guys to really be the next guy up.
Yeah.
So that's for me. It's Leon or it's nothing.
Yeah.
But
I mean, Nate'd be fun. Nate wins. Beats Masvidal.
Okay.
Goes up in the rankings.
Okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take that thought of Nate Diaz, put it away.
I'm going to take that thought that you just put away, bring it back, because the Nate Diaz hype train is back. All right, now let's talk about Usman's opponent last night, Jorge Masvidal. Who do you think his next fight's going to be?
If I had to be a betting man, like if I was Jorge, I would go for Nate again. I would run it back.
That's okay. He can do Nate Diaz. That's another big fight, you know, whatever. Jorge Masvidal runs through him, right?
Yeah.
I say go after Nate's brother, Nick Diaz. That's a big fight. The history's already there, right?
Yeah.
And who wouldn't want a Nick Diaz Jorge Masvidal fight? That's all I'm saying.
So here's the issue with that. I don't, on the surface, have an issue with Nick, but there is a couple problems that I could see. One, Nick hasn't fought in years.
Okay.
We can get into whether he should have ever been suspended or not. But point is he hasn't. He hasn't fought in years. Number 2, he's coming off a big fight. Nate is a huge name. If he beats Leon Edwards, I'm not saying Nate's going to contend against Usman. Okay, probably not. But on the same breath, Nate's one of the most famous guys in the UFC. Masvidal's one of the most famous guys in the UFC. They're both going to look for something after this, especially if Nate beats Leon. Okay. Which I think is very much in the realm of possibility. Yeah. They're both huge names, huge draws. Dana always says, one of his most famous things, Dana White always says, he makes the fights people want to see. Why not run it back? You know, the BMF part 2. And run it back, Nate, Jorge, because that's going to give both of them more clout. No one's going to, I mean, I think fighting Nick.
Hold on. Did you use the word clout? I like that, Ruben. I like that a lot. I just want to put that out there.
These freaking YouTubers are affecting my brain. But that would give them the most pump, right?
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Because they already have a built-in thing. Masvidal has a built-in excuse with Nick. He hasn't fought. Nick can look as great as he wants. He's Nate's older brother. Nate's not young. Sure, Nick wants to fight. I would love to watch Nick fight. Nick was a monster. Nick was better than Nate.
Oh, for sure.
Nick was fighting for championships against GSP.
And Silva.
Nick can fight. The question is can Nick fight 7 years later, you know, and much, much older? So I would like to see Nate and Jorge again, and I would throw, Nick's got to start. Like, you can't just throw Nick back into the Wolves. I know he would want that, Stockton, whatever, but that's not going to be what's best for Nick. What's going to be best for Nick is feeding him one of these younger guys on the charts, the 15th ranked, the 14th ranked, the 13th ranked, whatever that guy is. Give Nick a stepping stone because, I mean, that's another sports analogy. You can't just be injured all season and then go play in the Super Bowl and expect greatness. You can't put Nick back in this situation and just expect greatness. He's got to get in condition. He's got to be in the UFC a couple UFC fights.
In my eyes, Nick Diaz has Mamba mentality, right?
Sure, but what does that have to do with 8 years of rust? He might have that mentality.
Ring rust doesn't... Some people don't believe in ring rust. Dustin Poirier said he didn't believe in one. He looked great against Conor after not fighting in a year. I mean, look, we can see what Nick Diaz does. I personally want to see him fight Masvidal. Let's move on to this next fight. Leon Edwards, Nate Diaz. Who do you got there?
Leon.
Oh,
no
Leon.
doubt.
Okay. Well.
No doubt. Listen, I am not a Leon Edwards fan. Not really a Nate Diaz fan. I just the West Side Stockton gangster, man. I'm not really buying it. But we've seen Nate. Listen, we're gonna get some hate on this. This is gonna be the most controversial statement ever because Nate is a hugely popular guy because of his persona. Nate's a journeyman. Like, let's just call it what it is. Nate is not a top guy in the UFC, and he never has been. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. He could be famous. Like, he could be a Clay Guida type of guy. But if we go to the... I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to pull up his...
But, like I said, a journeyman is different than, from a bum, right? Because journeyman, you still have to be good.
I didn't say Nate was a bum.
Okay.
I didn't.
Well...
Keep going.
Anyways, what was I getting at this? All right, so fine, call Nate a journeyman, right? Mm-hmm. But all his fights that you have ever watched, has he ever had a boring fight? A real boring fight? When he fought Pettis, that wasn't boring. When he fought McGregor twice, those were some of the biggest fights in UFC history, right? Mm-hmm. The Masvidal fight was fun to watch. Mm-hmm. Nate has never had a boring fight, and he won't again, and he probably will never have a boring fight. He's just so electrifying to watch. Yeah. That being said, I don't think he'll ever really have a fight for a title, right? Like, this Leon Edwards, like, when he fights Leon Edwards, well, where does Leon go from here after beating Nate Diaz, right? Does he fight Masvidal? Does he fight Burns? Does he fight Covington? 3, 2, 1. Yep. Yeah, so Conor went on a little drunk tweeting last night and called out pretty much everyone in the UFC, right? And, yeah. So how do you feel about this? Do you think Conor has a chance with Usman, or?
Usman is the best fighter in the world right now. I don't think Conor has a chance with Usman.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I hope so. I think the press conference would be great. I think both guys would want to do it, but Conor's got to win another fight at least.
He at least has to win this Poirier fight. I mean, to be fair, if he doesn't win this Poirier fight, what happens next? Like,
hope he made a lot of money off Proper 12.
He's not go YouTuber boxing, Conor. Man, that'd be a sad way to go out.
It'd be the worst way to go out. Last thing, real quick, we're running out of time. Last thing, Rose Namajunas. Man, am I happy she
Thug
won.
Rose?
I love
Thug Rose.
She's back. She looks tighter than ever. Mm-hmm. The fight did not go that long, but man, those leg kicks, if they're going to be worked into her arsenal, I'm excited to see how that's going to go.
She looks like 11 from Stranger Things.
Yeah, that's because she has that power. But yes.
Baldness, but
yes. It's going to be great. I think that Thug Rose deserved the title. I don't understand the controversy around what she said. Because, we're all better dead than communist. Better dead than red.
I mean, it's a fair point.
But, yeah, overall, great card, UFC 261. Why don't we just put things away right there?
Mm-hmm. All right, great card from UFC 261. We thought it was great. Tell us what you guys have to think about it. And this is coming from Phoenix, Arizona, in my brother's house. Nick Garcia.
Ruben.
We are signing out.
Main event. See you later, punks.
Deuces.